The Sci-Fi Film Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Sciforror Film Podcast. My name is Andy Walker, and for those of you that don't know, you don't know, but you do now because I just told you. I'm here with my son Scott, as per usual. Hello, Scott.
Hello there.
And how are you?
I don't know. I'm a bit annoyed actually because I've only just realised that it's raining here.
Oh, it is
I've
raining.
got loads of washing out on the line. I've only just realised.
Oh dear.
Come on.
Well, I must admit, I'm a little bit peed off, to be honest, with the fact that we had planned, or I had planned, because I saw the trailer to it and thought it looked absolutely bonkers fantastic. We were originally going to do a review of the film Tokyo Gore Police, but unfortunately, the only full copy of the film, or copy of the full film, that I could find on YouTube, which is what we try to look for so I can pass the things on so that everyone can watch them, is such a bad copy. It's so badly pixelated that when it comes to showing you the action in the film, everything just becomes a blurred screen of colours. You can't actually see anything that's going on. So I didn't think I could sit through 2 hours of that without throwing something at the TV. So I decided that we would not do that this week. We will try at some point to see if maybe we can get a DVD copy of it just so that we can review it, because I really would like to do that. Maybe next year. Maybe next year we could actually do some ones where we sit and watch the films together on DVD and then record our reviews together, like we did right back at the start for the very first ever episode.
Yeah. First ever episode, and then we weren't able to do it anymore.
Yeah. Maybe we'll wait to do that until they bring out the Banana Splits 2.
Oh.
Maybe not. I don't
know. I don't know. I've grown to that, but I probably still would watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, right. So back to today. We have 2 short films, and we have got a feature film to do, and it is a mainstream sort of feature film thing. So let's start as we mean to go on. And the very first film is a short science fiction film from 2022 called Goldilocks. This is written and directed by Blake Simon, music by Daniel Sireliza, I think, director of cinematographer geezer Arden Tai or Tsai. The cast is Curtis Brechtold, Krista Shandley, Daniel Van Thomas, Paul Statman, Glenn Bagwell, Curtis Beard, Paul Chitlick, and Shane Acker. The synopsis says, Ray Ashford, an astronaut on the Goldilocks missions, searches the stars for a new home. When a circuit failure in his ship threatens to jeopardize the mission and put in danger the lives of those he loves. Now, it's interesting this because the Goldilocks missions actually seems to have become something that a few people have made films about recently, and the idea is that it's a proposed series of unmanned. It's starting off with unmanned and then manned flights to go to other planets, like starting off with like moons of some of the planets close to us, to
Yeah,
see if any of them are possible. It's possible for us to colonize any of them, and then going to further afield to look in other galaxies and things, or other star systems, whatever, to see if we can find a new home. I worry, though, to be honest, calling them Goldilocks is tempting a bit, because we don't really want to turn up there, think everything's wonderful, and then have the three bears come home and find us in their bed. It would worry me.
yeah, I can see that point.
Anyway, back to this film. I thought the start of it was interesting. The way it started with like old clips and the kind of um, giving you a bit of background as to what the whole thing is about and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah,
it's an interesting idea. Um, I quite like it, actually. I think it's very well made. It's a very serious film though.
yeah,
Um, and it does. I think the set's well designed and all that kind of thing, but it does, for the interior of the ship and all that sort of stuff. It does, for me, have echoes of 2001 in a lot of places,
yeah. I see what you mean.
especially where the computer started to talk to him and he's kind of arguing with the computer.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that.
But I mean, what did you think?
I've got to admit, I did like this. I agree with you. The set design was very well done. I agree with you. The start of it was very well done with the whole backstory, the sort of backstory of what was going on without actually sort of over going over, well, sort of over the top of it. It was them like the explanation of going into space and doing the space explorations.
Yeah,
It was very. I don't know. I sat there and I was watching it, and I was I was doing what I normally do, which is pick a lot of holes in things. But I was sitting there, and there were things happening, and things being questioned, or not being questioned, but being said, and um, things going on. That I sat there and was like, "Are you not gonna sit and question this? Not ask why one of the wires that he had to repair looked like it had been cut as well.
yeah,
Not like it just smashed, but looked like it had been purposely cut. Why have the robot seemed so sort of adamant not to find out what was going on?"
yeah,
And I just sat there like, "You not." I know, obviously, like we said before, it's the scripts and they
yeah,
got went off it. But I sat there like, that would bother me. That
yes,
would be one of my, like, if that was happening to me, I'd be like, what's happened? Why are you questioning this? What's going on? And but I said, like, I do agree with you. The seriousness of the film, especially with um when he's watching the videos back and getting the information back of the other missions,
yeah,
very well done. And the guy's emotion that he portrayed in it, especially when he was listening to his wife's video and
yeah,
then realizing that how late or how old the video was, very very well done. Um, I sat there and I thought to myself when it landed, like the end bit of it, the way that it sort of contrasted into obviously the same scenes that at the beginning. I was a bit confused with the beginning bit though, because obviously the way they do it, and he then takes his helmet off, and then it then cuts to him waking up.
yeah.
I I don't know why. Maybe it's because I watched him on Sci-Fi thing, but my brain automatically went, "Well, that's obviously a clone."
Right.
Instead of going, or maybe they're jumping back and
Yeah,
telling you by how. But I was saying, I did like it. it was very confusing in places, and I sat there and was like, "Why are you not paying attention?" But
Yeah.
so I did really like everything about this. Really,
Yeah, I mean, as I say, it's a really well made film, and it's a really interesting idea. And I've seen a couple of short films now that seem to be based on this idea of the Goldilocks missions, and they all seem to have this idea that they're going to go wrong, which I think is quite worrying, really. But
yeah. Well, the human race's sort of track record for anything going into space hasn't always been the best.
no, even now, even with
Yeah,
the new uh, thing to try and send rockets to the moon, they've screwed that up because of a hydrogen leak. But
yeah,
there you go. No, it's a good film and well worth a watch. I think it is good.
it is.
Okay, on to a slightly less serious thing, kind of. Um, this is going to be interesting, actually. This second film is a new film from our old friends, Deformed Lunchbox, who we love their stuff. It's a 2022 film called Sneeze of Death. The cast for this is Rush Kazi, I think it is, Michael Malco. The synopsis for this says the tickle of a sneeze on a lonely night can sometimes end in tragedy.
Yeah.
Yes, and it does. What did you think?
Well, I went into this obviously, as I said before, we've done a lot of Deformed Lunchboxes stuff, and we love this. Love their stuff. I went into this with quite high hopes of what to expect,
Yeah,
and yeah, they didn't fail. They didn't fail to amaze me. But okay, yeah, the it twisted a bit of it, and it sort of shocked me a bit. Is the part where she brings the drill out, and I thought, oh, I know where this is going.
yeah, yeah,
Knowing the Deformed Lunchbox and stuff, and sort of twist with that, and I was like, what? And it confused me a bit. But I can't pick fault in their films. I
yeah.
really liked it.
Okay.
Oh,
I hmm, no, no. I mean, don't get me wrong. Once again, I think they've made a fantastic looking film with a sense of humour and great effects and all that kind of stuff. The stuff that we always know they're going to do. But it's the first one of their films that I've got a bit of an issue with and a bit of a problem
oh, okay.
with. And I'm not sure about it. My issue is with the whole scene of her boyfriend committing suicide.
Yeah, I
Right?
understand.
I know you don't actually see him do it,
Yeah, it's
but it's implied and it's obvious what he's done, and what's gone on.
yeah,
And my issue, I think, with it is I have a problem with the depiction of suicide in a humorous film.
yeah,
And I know, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not. I mean, yes, it has humor in it, but it's also horrific, and in the same way as a lot of their other films are. But I think it's just for me, suicide is a very serious thing, and it's very difficult to put that on something. And do you know what I mean? It's just
yeah, yeah. No, I understand what you mean. I've got to admit, it is when I watched it, I sat there. It did shock me a bit the fact that it was done. I think I get what you're saying, and I do sort of feel the same, but I don't know. I think it's
I,
dependent on the person, obviously, but I get what you mean.
I mean, I don't know how to feel about it because the film. Otherwise, I mean, it's an excellently made film. The effects are brilliant. And apart from that scene, that one little bit, I really like it.
Mm,
So it's really difficult for me because I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about this really because of that. I feel a bit kind of, mm, you know.
yeah.
I mean, maybe maybe I'm being a bit oversensitive to it or something. But I just,
I don't know. I do agree with you. A bit. The whole subject matter of that is a very hard one to do, especially like we said in sort of humorous film. Um, it is a very controversial subject anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's one for everyone to make their own opinion on. Obviously, there are going to be people out there that have the same opinion as you, that it shouldn't have a place in a film like this, or to be honest, in any sort of film. But there could be people out there that sort of
I can see that there is a place for it in a story if the storyline requires that, maybe, but I'm not sure about it being in this film because it, partly because it does have a certain amount of humor in the rest of it. Maybe not as much as some of their others,
yeah,
or not as much like obvious in your face humor. I don't know. I'm really torn with this one. It really kind of like, I wasn't expecting that to be there, and I wasn't expecting to feel that kind of conflicted in my head about whether I like it or not.
yeah,
It's a difficult one, but it is a well-made film that looks good. The acting is good, and they make great films, and and there's a great film on their channel called Cookies, which isn't quite a horror film really, so we haven't bothered doing it, but that's a really good film as well. So, I mean,
yeah,
everybody watching, go and check them out. As we've said before, go and check out Deformed Lunchbox. They do some brilliant films. And maybe it's just me overreacting to this thing because of the way I feel about that subject.
yeah.
Difficult to say. Okay, so let's get on to our feature film instead of doing Tokyo Gore Police, and this is nothing like it in any way, shape, or form. This is a film called Devil's Gate. It's actually from 2017, although the copy that we found on YouTube says it's 2020. Now, this is listed as being a horror sci-fi thriller, which, not sure about the thriller part, but I could see the horror and sci-fi. The writer and director is Clay Staub. This is the only film he's written. It's the only film that he's written and directed, but he has worked on other films as a sort of cinematographer and in different parts.
Yeah.
Co-writer is a guy called Peter Alpalo, who has written for video games and short films in 2010s, but other than that, hasn't written for film or anything else. Now, the cast, the lead actress, Amanda Schull. This is her first film. She's done short films and TV work in the early 2000s and 2010s, but this is the only thing she's ever done film-wise.
Yeah.
We got Sean Ashmore. Now, Sean Ashmore is quite well known. He did some TV and short stuff in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s. He was in X-Men in 2000, Wolf Girl in 2001, X-Men 2, X-Men United in 2003, X-Men The Last Stand 2006, Solstice 2007, The Ruins 2008, Hatchet 2 in 2010, Mother's Day 2010, The Day in 2011, The Barons 2012, X-Men Days of Future Past 2014, Aftermath 2021, and The Freefall 2021. And we have Milo Ventimiglia, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Your guess is as good as mine.
TV and shorts in the 90s, 2010s, 2010s, and 2020s. He was in Cursed in 2005, Stay Alive 2006, Gamer 2009, The Divide 2011, Kiss of the Damned 2012, Static 2012, Breaking at the Edge 2013. And we have Bridget Regan, who again hasn't done any films before, but did TV and shorts in 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. And we have Jonathan Frakes, who a few of you might know. He did TV and shorts work in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s. And he apart from his directing work, which he's done a fair amount of as well, he is known for acting in the following films: Star Trek Generations, 1994, Star Trek First Contact, 1996, Star Trek Insurrection, 1998, and Star Trek Nemesis in 2002. He, of course, plays Commander Riker. So, yeah. I think that's it. That's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. So, synopsis for this film says, seeking a missing woman in North Dakota, an FBI agent and a sheriff focus on her religious zealot husband, but discover something far more sinister.
Yeah.
I will say, start off with that for some reason, which I couldn't quite work out, the version that we watched, which I found the link for on YouTube, for some reason I don't understand why. When names of places or anything came up, it had subtitles come up showing you what the signs were saying in Spanish.
Yeah,
But all the rest of it was in English, and there were no other subtitles.
I
So
don't know.
I don't understand what that was about.
No.
So, what did you think?
I'm a bit conflicted.
Okay.
I liked the film,
Right.
but it confused me a lot more than it probably should have done.
Okay.
The whole talk he does at the beginning. Or I say when we first started watching it, I sat there and I thought to myself, the way that it was shown, it was going to be another sort of backwater town. There was going to be the guy that sort of goes a bit loopy and starts down a bit of a murder spree.
Yep.
I thought, okay, it's another one of them. Obviously, then when the police turn up, the FBI agent and the sheriff deputy turn up, and it starts unraveling from there. It confused the life out of me. It started off them talking about um, angels and demons, which I thought, okay, it's very going to be very religious. There's going to be some sort of hidden religious meaning in this.
Yeah.
And then it obviously twisted again, and the way things went. And I don't know. I sat there and said afterwards to Amy that it's not a film that I would have watched on my own. Like I wouldn't have made the choice out of anything I could have watched and gone, oh, this could be interesting.
Right.
I'm glad I've watched it, and
Yeah.
I'm quite happy to watch it again. And I think I definitely will, because I need to know whether or not I missed something, or whether or not it helps knowing a bit more and then watching it again and maybe a bit more understanding.
Yeah.
I don't know. I bet I would definitely watch it again.
I think. Well, the thing
It's
about
just
it
a weird
is,
film.
I quite like it because of what it does. It starts off very much, as you say, like a horror, like the very typical sort of, like I was expecting some kind of like almost a slasher type thing of, as you say, like
Yeah,
in this sort of like farm in the middle of nowhere, and he's gone a bit loopy, and he starts killing the locals and all this kind of stuff.
yeah,
Um, and you get the impression that maybe the local sheriff is trying to cover it up or whatever.
yeah,
I thought the beginning of the film was absolutely brilliant. What a great way to start a film. It's great to start off with a good kill right at the beginning.
yeah. Well, I did. I sat there and I was like, oh, okay, sort of half paying attention really, but I was watching it. Then that happened, and I sat there like, what the?
Yeah.
Like it proper took me by surprise.
So that's what made me think, oh, this is going to be a bit slashery or whatever.
Yeah,
It was quite, oh, good. This could be quite interesting. Um, it was all right. And then it turns very sci-fi. And as you say, it goes through this whole sort of angels and demons thing. When I was still thinking horror, I was
yeah,
still thinking, oh, well, maybe he thinks he's possessed or whatever, or he's everybody else is possessed and he's the avenging angel or whatever. And as you say, it changes and it goes completely sci-fi.
yeah,
But it still feels like a horror film.
yeah,
I think is really good because it's still got the atmosphere and the kind of foreboding that you get with a horror film, which is really clever.
yeah.
One of the things I noticed is that there were 3 points in it where the film seemed to jump. When his wife is deposited by these aliens or whatever
Yeah,
on the ground, he runs towards her and the agent is left by the door. And then all of a sudden they're right by the side of her and the agent's putting a coat round her because she's naked on the floor.
yeah,
And I think somebody has edited that. Either it was edited by the person who put it up, or it's a version that was edited so that you didn't see the naked body.
could be.
And then a bit later, when they find the dog dead, it jumps again. They show the dog dead, and the camera starts to move in just a little bit, and then all of a sudden they're back inside the house.
Yeah,
And it's like, oh, okay, so they've jumped that so you don't see all of the blood and guts from the dog being dead. And then it does it again when, at the end, when the wife shoots the dad.
yeah.
You actually see him getting shot.
I didn't think about that.
So I think it jumps 3 times, which is a little bit annoying, but I think it's a good film, even in spite of that.
Yeah,
There was, I mean, I did question at first, and then he explained it later on. Why has he got a massive cage in his basement?
yeah,
Why would you have that in your basement? And then he explains it later on when he says that his dad used to keep fighting dogs.
yeah. But even then,
That cage is very big.
yeah. And even then, if it was his dad's, why is it still there? Just,
But it's floor to ceiling as well. You wouldn't need it floor to ceiling if
no.
it was fighting dogs.
Just,
And of course, like most films, American films especially do, the end of it is left completely for a sequel.
yeah,
Now, I don't know if they've ever made a sequel, and I don't think they have. And I don't necessarily know if it would be any good if they did, because it would probably have less of a budget, because this one didn't do exceptionally well.
no.
But I don't think it's a bad film, actually. I think it's pretty good. As I say, it's got that kind of that atmosphere and feeling that you get from a horror film, but it's a sci-fi, which is very clever
Yeah,
to keep that atmosphere all the way through. And I thought the effects and the makeup were fantastic.
yeah. The effects and the makeup and the costume design of the creatures, I thought, was very well done.
Absolutely. I mean, it obviously had a bit of money in it because of the fact that, I mean, Jonathan Frakes was in this just as an actor. He didn't actually do anything about the making of it at all. And like Sean Ashmore's done a few big name films, so and some quite impressive TV work as well. He was in Warehouse 13 and Fringe and things like that. So
Yeah,
it's not like he's done nothing. But yeah, I don't know. I quite liked it. As you say, it's a film that I kind of looked at and thought, oh, that looks like it might be interesting. And I
yeah,
put it on a sort of like a possibility list for for doing it at some point. And
yeah,
then when the whole thing went sideways with Take a Gore Police, I thought, well, I'll grab that one. I'll take that off the list and we'll put that in there. But it's not a bad film, and it's let's say well made and worth having a look at.
it is. And I'm just saying, like I said, it's not one that I would have gone out of my way to watch. It's not one that I sort of, if I'd had a choice to sat there, I wouldn't have sat there and gone, "Do you know what? Yeah, like I'm saying, I am glad that I've watched it, and I will quite happily watch it again."
Yeah, yeah, yes. Right. So there you go. I mean, you've got Goldilocks, which is a good, well-made film. Depending on your attitude towards sci-fi films in general, and that kind of type of sci-fi film, I think it would be quite enjoyable to watch. Well, I don't know about enjoyable, but it would be interesting to watch. Then we have the Deformed Lunchbox film, Sneeze of Death, which we're a bit sort of not sure about. Well, I'm a bit not sure
Yeah.
about. You're okay with. It's just I don't know, but check it out. It's worth it. And finally, Devil's Gate, which is it's not a it's not an earth-shattering sort of film that's going to change your life, or is like a massive moment in cinema history. But it's not a bad film. Not a bad film to watch. So check them out, as they say. Next week, all things being equal, we will be doing some different films. And I was thinking of doing Zombievers, but I'm not sure I could take that really. I watched the trailer for Zombievers, and I thought, I don't know, it's a bit. But what I thought we'd do actually next week is a good family sci-fi romp next week. Not a horror sci-fi, but a family sci-fi romp. Going back to something I watched when I don't know how old I was when I watched. I'm not sure what year it came out. The Last Starfighter. The Last Starfighter. It must have been 80s, I would have thought, something like that. Because I remember seeing that at the same sort of time as I saw Enemy Mine, I think. But there you go. Yeah. So we'll be doing that next week with some other stuff. I think 2 shorts and that. And that sort of thing. Thank you very much, Scott, for being here and all that kind of stuff.
It's okay. I'm glad that I could be part of it.
I'm glad you could be part of it too. As I say, maybe next year we'll try going for at least a few face-to-face things where we can actually meet each other and do things in the same room.
That'd be weird.
Yeah, it would be weird. And we could watch the film and then record this straight afterwards.
Yeah.
Like we did with that first one.
Yeah.
All those many moons ago.
All that long time ago.
All right. Thank you very much for everyone for and if you would like that translated, please find somebody who speaks gibberish. Thank you very much to everybody for watching, listening, receiving it in semaphore or via electric shock. And we will be back again next time that we're back again. And I want to actually, before we go, I want to issue an apology for the fact that some of the podcasts on the Thrave Productions channel on channels have been put out in slightly the wrong order. This is due to a bout of stupidity on behalf of on the part of the people who upload the podcasts, and it will be rectified as soon as we can find out who's responsible, and we crucify them in the backyard. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
The Sci-Fi Film Podcast.